I'm sorry. But Shandra? Shandra, please get up. You see, we've won, really. We've come all this way to save you. And we got here just in time. Haven't we?
Shandra, her life. I can't even feel it. It's gone.
I say we kill him. Do to him what he did to her.
Kill me now, and this place will collapse, and we will all die. In my blindness, I have done a great wrong. Perhaps it is not too late to rectify it. And where one was lost, I still might save you all. Only a fraction of power remains in my haven, but it will be enough to take us from this place.
So Ammon Jerro wasn't dead after all. Glad we made sure of that before running into his labyrinth of demons.
Yes, he is alive, and he is much more powerful than tales ever indicated.
More powerful than some wizard, anyway.
More powerful than you, Aquara, and you would do well to believe me.
So what now? We imprison him? Throw him to the watch?
Tell me you're joking. He'll send the entire district to the abyss and then he'll come after us.
Justice must be served. But I am not certain he would find justice within Neverwinter's walls.
We could throw him off the docks.
I say we get what we need from him, then take care of him. No one needs to know.
He murdered Shandra Jerro, and he must answer for it. But we will not answer murder with murder.
I'm sorry. I still don't understand what went wrong. If only we'd had some way of getting to her in time.
There is no sense to be made of it, Grabnar. Now we must simply accept. It is our leader I am worried about.
The will of Ammon Jerro is broken, and this makes him dangerous. But no, it also makes him of use. Know that Shandra killed herself in breaking the circles to save us. Ammon merely hastened that end. Among my people, what Shandra did is a thing of honor, and its consequences should be honored as well. Know that Ammon is the enemy of the Githyanki, and all he has done to fight the King of Shadows. It would be well for us to share words with him. If his knowing becomes ours, our strength increases. Speak to him and see where his allegiances lie.
Why did you bring her to my haven? Even though she was of my bloodline, you knew she did not have the strength to survive there. I have only recently escaped my imprisonment in the lower plains, and since then I have fought to re-establish my stronghold and gather my forces, which you have ruined with your carelessness. As you know, the King of Shadows is growing in power as well. And the King of Shadows, he has won a victory against us this day without striking a blow. I have fought the King of Shadows before. As soon as I became aware of the threat he represented to Neverwinter, to the realms, I fought him. I have made pacts. I have studied him, tried to learn his weaknesses and the extent of his power. And always it has been a war with few victories. Surely you know of the ritual of purification. You should know that I have performed part of the ritual myself already. Without it, we cannot strike at the King of Shadows, and the battle is lost before it begins. The King of Shadows is no mortal creature. He is not human, more a force than anything else. But there is something that can harm him. Those shards you have, they are part of the Sword of Gith.
Kalakcha.
Once the King of Shadows was driven back by Githyanki warriors wielding hundreds, maybe thousands of those blades. But the Sword of Gith is more than a simple silver sword. It can wound the King of Shadows, like it did once long ago. A part of the blade got lodged in your chest in the battle in West Harbor when you were a child. And whether you like it or not, you are now that weapon. The more shards you gather, the stronger that weapon becomes. Together, we can stop the King of Shadows, and we must. Because you have no choice. And because if you know anything about me, you know that all I have done has been to fight the King of Shadows and to protect Faerun from him. I have completed part of the ritual of purification. If you kill me, the battle is lost as soon as my heart stops beating. Without me, you cannot win. Whatever punishments you think I deserve, I will suffer 1,000-fold, well beyond anything your small mind can imagine. But I will strike at the King of Shadows before I leave this plane, and you will have no stronger ally than I in this, both in knowledge and power. Then we must gather our forces against the King of Shadows. Even now, his presence is extending from the Mare of Dead Men. The high road has become impassable. My scouts, now vanished, reported legions of shadows and undead stirring within the Mare, and a sphere of darkness expanding from the heart of the swamp, killing all life it touches. We cannot stop him alone. With my powers weakened, my demons are no longer bound to me. You will need an army to face him. Yes? No doubt. That is a long tale. Some pieces of the tale I gave when we escaped. But there is more, yes. As you probably already know, the King of Shadows was once a creation, a guardian of Ilfan. By tapping into the power of the Weave, the source of all magic in Faerun, Ilfan sought to make an invincible protector to shield its borders. Yes, Ilfan's enemies, the Netherese, in their quest for power ended up disrupting the Weave. The Guardian relied on the Weave to sustain itself. Without it, it was forced to seek another source of power in order to continue to protect Ilfan. It found a darker source of magic, the Shadow Weave, and tapping into it, transformed the Guardian of Ilfan into something else, the King of Shadows. A man, perhaps. Who it was, I was never able to determine. But whoever it was, he was willing to give up himself to protect his empire. Give up his sense of self, his identity. It is no small sacrifice. There is a certain sympathy I have for such a man, for someone willing to make that choice. He cast away his family, his ties to his people, and he ended up suffering for it while attempting to save them. Such a motivation is not hard to understand. Even more now, to see the King of Shadows reviled for what he has done, and knowing that at its core, he sought only to protect the people under his care. Now, its people are gone, and even knowing its failure, it still seeks to protect its empire and, most importantly, itself. If it frees itself, it will seek to destroy anything that threatens it. You first, then I. Then it will destroy all civilization on the Sword Coast where its former empire lay, and from then on, I do not know what it will do. But the coast shall become as the mare is now, lifeless. It's only people raised from the dead to become the shades of the new Ilfarn Empire. No doubt. Why do I wish to stop the King of Shadows? Perhaps this is a question you should ask yourself, since your motivation in all of this has been unclear from the start. Really? Then let us speak plainly on this. Does he threaten you specifically? Do you feel that the Sword Coast cast beneath shadow would be an unwelcome thing? All life turned to death and ghosts? Or perhaps you would simply sleep better at night, knowing that a twisted remnant of the Ilfarn Empire was as dead and buried as they are. Perhaps I underestimated you, and your resolve. I wish to stop the King of Shadows because he is a threat to not only the people of Neverwinter, but to the Sword Coast and Farron itself. That is all, and while simple, it is the truth. Despite whatever onus has been placed on my actions, desperate measures were required to stop him the first time, and will be again. More can be saved as a result, and that is all that matters now. Yes, an unpopular idea for anyone who does not truly see the threat to this plane. Now, that is the first piece of wisdom I have encountered from someone in Neverwinter's service for some time. Yes, no doubt. I have only recently escaped my imprisonment in the lower planes, and since then, I have fought to re-establish my stronghold and gather my forces, which you have ruined with your carelessness. Let us simply say I had help in the matter, and leave it for another time. It has no bearing on our present, no doubt. Yes, I imagine the history books have little to say on the matter, aside from my many misdeeds, which is how I wished it.
The Jerro family was once part of the highest nobility of Neverwinter. When growing up, I displayed a certain aptitude for magic, especially the magic tied to the lower planes.
With little training, I was able to do spells well beyond my years, and well beyond any training I received in the academies and elsewhere. Yes, you will find that where magic is concerned, one school of thought rarely knows the full range of the art. One should never limit themselves to one teacher, lest they cripple their studies before they are begun.
Gain it. With the lower planes, the power is always there. It just needs a focus and the will to control it.
In my case, it did not take long to master that power. The greater discipline came in using it sparingly so that few could see. When one displays such power, it does not grant you freedom. It becomes a cage and makes you a target. You will be constantly beset by the problems of others, who will see your power as an excuse to compensate for the lack of theirs. That is never a position I want to be in, nor a philosophy I wish to encourage in others. Nevertheless, I displayed enough talent to be accepted by the Neverwinter court, to be the Jester Mage. To make my intentions plain, it was a position of convenience and opportunity. One of many. The position allowed me to obtain access to many of the secrets of the Neverwinter, as well as free access to the Academy libraries, their vaults, and the court records. Also, I thought that perhaps my position might give me a greater voice when attempting to convince others of threats that beset us, but that proved to be an ill-founded conclusion. Oh yes, I had several teachers. Many are dead now through unfortunate circumstances, but not by my hand, I assure you. I sought teaching not only in Neverwinter and Waterdeep, but also across the plains from infernal allies, and even from the Arcane Brotherhood in Luskan. Yes, provided one can stomach their politics, they have a vast library of knowledge to draw upon. And I also wish to study their workings from within, in case I needed to defeat them one day. Oddly enough, it was by walking these dark paths that I saw the greater threats we faced. Shadows were growing stronger around the Mayor of the Dead Men. This was due to the growing power of the King of Shadows. I attempted to warn the court of Neverwinter of this, but they were too busy vying for power and holding blades to each other's throats to listen. So I sought allies elsewhere, amongst demons and devils, and even the Githyanki. And I used all the power I had, which was considerable. And by waging a war, by the nature of my allies, I became something others feared. I even gained the name of my enemy, as you proved when you first encountered me in my haven. To think you believed me to be our mutual enemy. The irony runs deep, indeed. Was I ever fighting you? All I recall is you tripping across my path and my servants. Perhaps if you had sought another means to make your intentions known, we could have coordinated our efforts and none of this need ever have happened. Then we are agreed on the matter. Regardless, that is behind us now. We now know the truth. We must cooperate to succeed. No doubt. How any of my kin managed to survive is a mystery to me. It seems the Jerro line is more resilient than I thought. But yes, I thought the Jerro line had been ended in the war with the King of Shadows. During the battles that waged near the Mare, near Highcliff, there was so much chaos, I thought what remained of my family was lost. Now, they truly are. This useless tracking through old memories has no bearing on our current quest. Let us focus on the present, not what or no doubt. The shards, including the one lodged within you, are part of the Sword of Gith. Its history is a tiresome one. Ask the Githzerai if you would know more. She could no doubt recite countless metaphors concerning Gith and Zerthaman. The importance of the shards is that once recast into a blade, it is likely to have the power to harm the King of Shadows, and as such is vital to our quest. I do not know. Perhaps their extraplanar origin is what makes the King of Shadows vulnerable to them. There may be some secret in their creation that is unknown to me, that may make them effective as well. Regardless, the King of Shadows is vulnerable to them, and to the Sword of Gith most of all. No doubt. I did, but before I could reach the other statues, the Shadow Reaver arrived, and even with my allies, I could not stand against him. Now each of us bears the necessary pieces of the ritual, and together, we are the only ones who can harm him, like it or not. We need each other if we are to succeed. If the Githzerai did not already explain, the ritual is designed to unmake the Ilfarn Guardian, which the King of Shadows once was, and still is in part. But the Guardian is a shell, a vessel for what the King of Shadows has become. When it drew life from the Shadow Weave long ago, it became something else. Something greater. Still, its outer skin is that of the Guardian. We must break that armor first, and once shattered, then we may strike at his essence. We must do it within the King of Shadows' fortress, as near to his heart as possible. Within the Mare of Dead Men, or the Merdelaine as the Druidess calls it. There is where we must go. Yes, I know. I do not know how to defeat such a shield yet, but we must find a way. To do that will require the Sword of Gith, which you carry with you. The silver swords of the Gith Yankee are the only weapons I have seen that have harmed the King of Shadows, and the Sword of Gith is the mightiest of such weapons. That fact did not escape me. We will need to remake it if we are to succeed. No, but it is something we must discover, and soon. I do not believe reforging the sword will require all the shards. But as I have never done such a thing, I do not know for certain. The Githzerai who travels with us may know more. In that she may have some use. No. I do not know. Greater than nothing, I suspect. But it is a chance we must take. When the time is right, I will show you, not before. Part of power comes in knowing when to keep it a secret, and sharing it only with those you trust. No doubt. No, but it is something I do not believe reforging the sword will require the Githzerai who travel. No doubt. Ah, some secrets I must have. But suffice to say that there are eyes throughout the plains that see more than I. No doubt. Disdain. I hardly consider her worthy of emotion at all. She is a blind follower, an adherent of her own people's history. There is blindness in such things. Indeed, such a noble view. But she is but one. What of her people? Where are they against this threat? We need allies who understand our enemy, yet her people do nothing. The people of Farron are ignorant of the King of Shadows, yes, but her people are not. And neither do I. A question she could ask, perhaps, before we all lie dead at the King of Shadows' hands.
What is your will? I will hear you.
Yeah, something you need.
Yes?
Is there something you need?
Great! What's wrong now?
Some way I can help?
Something you need?
What's going on?
Yes? Is there something you wish?